Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Billy, Gym City Welding. I want to thank you for being here and tuning in to today's episode. Today we're talking about model cars, how to keep that tradition alive, how to keep lowriding alive, and cruising well into the future. All that and more on this episode, so stay tuned. But before we get started, let's take a moment and thank this episode's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Cool Cars Engineering, your #1 source for all your hydraulic needs. Cool Car's easy-to-use website allows you to choose the parts and the components that work right for you. Whether you're building a full custom lay-and-play setup or competition vehicle, CCE has the parts that you need. If you're in the market for cylinders, then look no further than CCE Competition Pro Cylinders. These cylinders come standard with a polypack seal design and bronze bushing. Also, all CCE competition cylinders are made right here in the USA. If power and performance is what you're after, then look no further than Cool Cars Engineering's revolutionary piston pump. Cool Cars Engineering has the industry knowledge and experience to give you the information you need to make the best decision for your ride. Whether you need a single part or a fully customized solution, our expert technicians can help you find exactly what you need when you need it the most. Be sure to check out our website at coolcars.org. All right, so let's jump right into it. On today's episode, it's a big one for me. It's yet another milestone on Gym City Welding. Reached 1,900 subscribers who consistently tune in and watch the channel. So that's 1,900 of you that support me in my endeavor to build my dream car. And I'm thankful for each and every one of you. So again, big shout out to you. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Stay tuned to the end of this episode to find out how you can win yourself a model car for the 1,900 subscribers for Gym City Welding. So before I get started though, let's talk about a couple things that's going on with the channel. First thing would be mail call. So I've actually got some mail that I wanted to go over and share with everybody and just kind of give an update of where I'm at on the channel. First thing first would be from Lone Star Lowe's, would be their American Auto Wire bulkhead beauty plate, cover plate. Picked this up from them not too long ago. It's made from stainless steel. This one happens to be unpolished, but you can get these polished from them. So look up Lone Star Lowe's on YouTube and shoot them a message. Tell them Gym City Welding sent you, and hopefully they'll mention Gym City Welding on the channel. But anyways, this is a necessity when you're doing the American Auto Wire. It cleans up the firewall, makes everything really nice, and just finishes off everything. And they threw in a sticker to boot. So I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Next piece of mail that we got is none other than from my good friend Cadillac Dan. Please check out the Cadillac Dan Show here on YouTube. If you don't follow him or watch his videos, Dan has a lot of technical stuff. He's a hell of a fabricator, hell of a welder, and he makes these keychains. He sent this one to me, and I absolutely love it. It's chromed, it's the Cadillac Dan logo, so get yourself one today. I think they're 10 bucks, don't quote me on that. Shoot Dan a message and ask him how to get one for yourself. So again, thank you, Dan, for that. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, so what are we talking about today? On today's episode, we're talking about model cars. And just like the title says, how to keep model cars alive, how to keep low riding alive and cruising well into the future. A big part of that starts with youth, being young. I'm in my 40s, and I'm sure from what my analytics from my channel tells me, most of you are between the ages of 30 and let's say 50. So I'm sure you guys and ladies grew up with model cars just like I did. One of the earliest things that got me into lowriding really before I ever even had a car was picking up Lowrider Bicycle magazine. How many of you remember this magazine? I couldn't wait to get my copy. I think it was quarterly. No, yeah, it was quarterly back then. So this is the spring 2000 issue. And I still remember the exact day I bought this just because it's got hydraulic cylinders on the front forks. But long story short, this magazine was full of model cars, how-tos, custom builds. And you know, before I had my first set of wheels, I was building cars in plastic, and that's what taught me for the most part how to work on cars. So when cruising into the future, what I'm talking about is how to keep our young people, our kids, some cases grandkids, interested in automobiles, interested in lowriding and the culture, and keeping it going well into the future. So I've got just a couple examples today to go over to talk about model cars and how you can get started in the hobby. There's a lot of people out there, like on Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of discussion groups and lowrider model car groups, and just people in general that you can follow that build model cars. In some cases, I mean, so perfectly built to mimic the actual real car, it's hard to tell them apart. There's a few names out there to mention, like Armando Flores, he's a big one. Jeffries, he's a big one. There's just so many of them out there. I'll post up a couple of pictures of some of the ones that I found recently, just doing some research for this video. I mean, there's been people out there that's cloned the Gypsy Rose, the Las Vegas car, Twilight Zone, you name it, they've been, made in miniature. So here in Ohio, it's like fall time, winter time, right? So it gets cold outside. It might be like a Sunday afternoon. It's just too cold to be out in the garage. One of the great things that I like to do to just kick back and unwind and just kind of put my mind at ease is I like to work on model cars. It's fun. And it's a way for me to build up, and scale how I would like my car to look someday. They don't always turn out that way, but it's worth a shot. And model cars are pretty readily available. I mean, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, and examples of those would be like, I went to a model car show and swap meet recently. I'll throw in some footage of that now. So yeah, the hobby is huge. There's so much stuff out there. There's so many cool things out there. And it's fun to be a part of it. And it's fun to get the kids involved. Growing up, going to like Carl Casperado Rama or the Indy Lowrider show or whatever show it happened to be, you know, if you grew up in the 90s and 2000s, you would see like model car contests at car shows. So it was a great way to get kids involved. Plus, you know, unless you live somewhere that's, you know, pretty rural, if you had a hobby shop within driving distance of where you lived, chances are they had a display case for customer builds or, you know, Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or something like that who would put like snap type models together or, you know, full blown scale model cars. So yeah, there's a lot there, a lot to talk about, and it's a cheap, easy way to get into the hobby and to get, you know, make it like a family atmosphere, to get your son, get your daughter involved, niece, nephew, grandson, grandchild, whatever it may be. So today I have just a couple examples of what's available, what's out there, and some things that you might want to consider when purchasing your model cars and the tools that go along with making them. All right, so let's go over some of the stuff that I have set up here for you guys today to show you, you know, kind of how you can get started in the hobby and kind of some of the things to look for. So first things first, some of these models like this 59 and the 64 are actually out of print, but luckily there is enough stock out there that you can find these things pretty readily available through like eBay and places like that. Now, I will tell you that lowriding has grown so much in the last 2 years that model car companies are starting to reproduce a lot of these, you know, cars from the 90s and 2000s. Like this 61 here, this happens to be a brand new kit that I just bought recently. And I think it was like 15 bucks, so you can't beat it. But the 59 is going to be a little bit harder to find, so I would search eBay for those. But they are available and they are out there. So what kind of stuff do I have here for my setup? This is just a small example. You guys have seen my basement workshop before. I do models in the winter, so I just brought up a small portion of what I have. First thing would be the cutting mat. These cutting mats you can buy on Amazon. They're really cheap. This one happens to be an 18 by 12, and I think I gave like 12 bucks for it on Amazon. But it's a self-healing mat, so if you cut it, it's not going to open up wide. It's actually going to close back up, and it's really nice to have. This just happens to be a brand new one. Something else you might want to consider is when you're painting small parts, like an example of that would be like this engine here. These parts can be really hard to hold on to and paint. So having these, you know, helper hands or whatever you want to call these, they're basically just alligator clips. They'd allow you to hold the small parts, allow them to dry, you know, and hold them up so you can paint them. So that's really, really helpful to have. Do you have to have either one of these? No, but they're so cheap. It's, you know, it's best to just go ahead and get them. I mean, for 20 bucks, you can have that whole setup, and it's really nice. So some of the things that for the models I wanted to talk about was like, yeah, obviously you've got the lowrider stuff, and I know some of you tuning in aren't into the lowrider stuff. That's why I brought up my funny car, Roland Leong's Hawaiian Charger. But there's so much available within the hobby, it's ridiculous. This is a car that I started some time ago, and when I was a kid growing up in the early 90s, to go to a model car show and to see a car like this on a mirror was just like insane. It blew my mind because, you know, you can see the chassis underneath. And I've heard Joe Ray talk about this in interviews. Building a car like that to that level in real life and having like mirrors underneath it, it's almost like building two cars, according to him. So it's to see a car on a mirror, that was always a big deal. But I picked up this mirror at Hobby Lobby and it was $4. So it's kind of cool, you know, to display. Someday when I finish this thing up, I'll probably have a few of them like this. But that's just one example, because you guys know that I have my 64 that I'm putting together, and building something like this in scale, when I was a kid helped me understand, like, oh, this is where the control arm goes. This is where the alternator goes. Plug wires, stuff like that. So it's stuff like that to teach young people, to show them, you know, how an engine goes together, especially a V8, Chevy V8 like this. So yeah, that's just one example. The other example would be pretty extreme, really. This is a 57 that I started building, I think, probably last year before spring. And spring and summer, I'm outside, I'm busy, I'm working on this thing. I'm trying to get it done. But the point is I was working on this, and this car is actually going to be a hopper eventually. This is all scratch built, A-arm front suspension. It's ugly as sin right now, but it takes time to make these things work. Let me open up the, you see the rear end there. So it'll have telescopic cylinders, you know, sit up real high, actual cylinders in the engine compartment. I got to cut those down still, but you get the idea. It's a full working suspension with coil springs. So this car will be able to hop off the ground at some point. I just don't know when. And then, of course, like I said, my Charger funny car. I've got quite a few vintage race cars. I love vintage racing, so I like putting those together. And it's a bit of a challenge because those cars were purpose-built. You know, they have to look a certain way. To build this car and not put the graphics on it just wouldn't be right. So you're building it more like to the box, doing these kinds of things. But some of you who have been around the block a couple times will remember this stuff. Testor's glue. It's not the best. It'll get the job done. There's a lot better products now, but this is something that you can still get, and I think it's only like $1 still, which is amazing. But like I said, there's a lot better stuff out there. Something to note when it comes to the lowriding models is like when you're looking to do detail, like Armando Flores, I'll show a picture of some of his builds. You know, using stuff like craft mirrors, disco mirrors. I know it sounds silly, but this stuff is $2.99 at Hobby Lobby, and I don't know how many feet that is. It's a lot though. That'll go forever. I'll build a ton of cars using that stuff. But, you know, going to the craft store, that stuff's readily available. And when it comes to like building something like this, the sky's the limit. It doesn't have to be a stock interior car. It can be, you know, a fully customized build. But, so yeah, you've got the glue, which is pretty basic. Now, I'm going to show you something. You got to promise me you're not going to laugh. But I've had this right here forever. My wife bought this. I think it held nail polish at one time, but she was tossing it out, and I said, whoa, wait a second. I know exactly what I can use that for. And I'm sure some of you right now are reading my mind. Paint storage. Testor's paints. There's a lot better paints out there now, but I grew up using Testor's, and I mean, you can't beat them. They're still good products. It's Hobby Lobby, $1.99. You know what I mean? Let's see, what's this one? Aluminum. Yeah, flat aluminum. It's just there's so much out there. And then you got, you know, like your brush cleaner, that stuff, which is basically just acetone. And then if you want to step up in expensive paints, this brand is really, really expensive, but it's good stuff. And you just can't beat it. Also, having small little hand tools like we were talking about with these guys right here helps a lot. So you got your tweezers, hobby knife, and of course paint brushes, dental pick for when you have to clean out like door jams, if you're gonna make the doors open and that sort of thing. These help a lot. But there's so much out there, and it doesn't take much to get involved in this whole entire thing. So I hope this encourages someone to pick up a model and at least get started. And as a matter of fact, the last thing I wanted to talk about was Pegasus model products. So these are still available, believe it or not. These things have been around since, I think, at least probably the 90s. Because I remember buying them in the 90s and cutting grass and saving up my grass money so I could go buy some Daytons, right, for my models. But we'll actually talk about these during the giveaway at the end. But anyways, they make different styles. You can get them in Krager's. You can get them in Rocket brand. You can get them in true spoke. You can get all different kinds. So let me set you back up on the tripod, and we'll talk about some other things when it comes to modeling. Okay, so one of the last things I want to talk about as far as tools goes is this right here, the helper's hand. This has a small little magnifying glass and a couple alligator clips that allow you to position parts on here and then use the magnifying glass to look at that closer. You can pick these up through Amazon or Hobby Lobby. They're really inexpensive. I mean, less than $5. I don't use mine as much as I probably should, but it's still helpful and handy to have. So just consider that when buying your tools. But when it comes to model cars, of course, you know, you can always build them box stock, or you can do the full custom build with the Lowrider stuff, or, you know, the sky's the limit. You want to chop top a 64? Go for it. But the point is get involved, get active, you know, check out the resources that I mentioned earlier. And if you have a son or daughter or a grandchild, pick up a model car and put it together with them. It's a lot of fun. And chances are, if you have a hobby shop, go and visit them. They probably have a display showcase that you can put your work in and show other people what you can do. So as far as model cars go, that's pretty much going to be it for the episode. Now let's talk about this giveaway. So I was going to wait till the 2,000 subscriber mark to do this, but since we hit the 1,900 and I don't know how soon we'll get to the 2,000, I figured we might as well just go ahead and do it now, because there's no time like the present. So the way this is going to work, I have a brand new, in the box, 1957 Chevy Bel Air and a set of Pegasus D's style, Dayton style rims for the model. This is an unopened box. It shows the post, but it's not actually a post. It's a Bel Air. So this is the giveaway. It's going to be a brand new model and a brand new set of D's. I might even throw a tester's glue on there. We'll see. If I've got an extra one laying around, I'll throw it in the box. But how do you win this stuff? Great question. So I've been racking my brain on how to do this the most fairest way possible, and it's really, really simple. So those of you who have seen my stickers in the past, I had some hologram ones. I've since sold out of those, so thank you again to everyone who's purchased one. But I reordered some in just plain black and white with the original OG Gym City Welding logo. Easy way to do this. These stickers are $1 each. So if you buy one sticker, that's one entry to win the model and to win the Dayton wire wheels shipped to you on me. Now, of course, you can buy more than one sticker. If you want to buy 5 and have 5 entries, that's fine. If you want to buy 10, you can buy 10. But I am going to limit this to just 50 entries. So out of 1,900 subscribers and however many thousands of people watch the show and don't subscribe, this is your chance to win one. So here's how this is going to work. You're going to buy a sticker from me for $1. On the back of it, I'm going to put your name on it, Jane Doe or whatever your name is, and I'm going to throw it into a bucket. And at the end of the 50 people who purchase these, I'm going to draw a name, probably do a live feed, and then that way I can hopefully tag the person who wins and get this shipped out to them. But again, real simple. One sticker, one entry. It's the model and the wheels. It's about a $40 value by the time I throw in shipping. So, I mean, for $1, you know, you're getting a pretty good deal, and it helps support the channel. It helps support me. So again, you can buy one of these. You can shoot me a message through Instagram. You can hit me up on Facebook. I will get you entered in by putting your name on the back. And no matter what, you're going to get your stickers that you buy. So I will send those out to you. But each sticker is one entry into the model car contest. So again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you have any questions, comments, want to talk about the old days growing up building model cars, sound off below. I'll do my best to read all those and answer those. And if you have any technical questions about modeling or paints or kits to buy, again, hit me up, Instagram, Facebook, or you can send me a message through YouTube by messaging below. So again, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Lots of stuff to come to Gym City Welding. I'm a little behind in the process just because it's such a busy summer. Summer's wound down. I'm back in the fall. So it's going to be back into the swing of things on the Impala coming very soon. You guys are going to see how to build a body cart, because I've got to get this body back off the frame so I can get the body work done and replace the floor pan. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to build a body cart, stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it cheap, okay? And cheap doesn't necessarily mean poor quality. It just means using this and getting it done the correct way. So again, thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next video, which will most likely be a live feed for the giveaway. So take care. God bless.